Why would we change them?
Hi, Tata.
Hey, Jelly Bean.
How's it going this week?
It's pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we shot 2 episodes without headphones. We don't know how this sounds, so this may or may not be our first episode.
May not. May.
This may be our 3rd. It depends if the other ones didn't sound so good. So we set up a whole new studio, so we'll have nicer looking cameras, and that means seeing more details.
Basically, we're just getting our act together.
Yes, for our fine-tuned females.
Fine-tuned.
Vodcast and podcast.
Vodcast, podcast, whatever it is.
So welcome to the
everywhere.
show, and what are we talking about today?
Well, first of all, is there anything that's pissing you off this week?
Always. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I know.
That'll
but
be
is there-
3 episodes.
Well, let's cut it down to 1 today, and let's pick a topic of what is on your bitch list this week.
Well, mostly I've been getting bitched out myself because I've been having a hard time with being naggy. Is that the word?
Maybe you're hormonal?
Well, I guess, I don't know. So Jim and I have been having a bunch of fights lately because holidays are coming up, and by the time people are watching the show, it'll be post-holidays. But we're going to be, eating a little bit more, and Jim has this cholesterol issue that's genetic, and we've been having a lot of fights about it. So,
Oh, I hear you. Listen, Ben smokes. I don't like it.
yeah.
The more I nag him about it, the more he smokes because he says it makes him nervous, and so he gets to have more cigarettes because of my nagging. And he said when he's ready to quit, he'll quit. And I know him; he's strong. He'll do it cold turkey.
Yeah.
But I think that's a personal choice, even though it's not good for his health. Obviously, it's scary. Same thing with my dad. He smokes cigars. He shouldn't be smoking cigars.
Right.
But you can't. You have to find a very soft, fine-tuned way to get that message across. And
Nice branding.
Nice branding, right? A little plug there. Also, I think you also have to have rewards to everything. So there has to be some perks to the plan. Like, for instance, with Jim, perhaps on a holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is, a birthday, he can have a treat meal, a cheat meal, treat meal. And then after that, it's back to the hardcore discipline.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I finally got him. A friend of mine referred me to her husband, who's a cardiologist. But we still bicker because he always tells me that I'm nagging. And here's my bitch fest. Is that, ladies, is it nagging if you're just trying to make sure that the person you're talking to, whether it's reminding them of something or trying to teach them something or explain something to them, is it nagging if you don't know if they've heard you? So I read this great book about mastering communication skills, which is funny because my degree is actually in mass communications. So I read this book and it was great. And one of the most important things you can do in proper communication is repeat back what the person said to you.
I do agree with that, but men always see us as nagging even on a good day when we're just like, I'm sure my husband, if I ask him the same question twice, he tells me I'm nagging.
Yeah.
But it's just because he doesn't respond to the first time. So I'm like, did you even hear what I said? Half the time, right?
Exactly. That's what I said. So he goes off on what he's mad at me for nagging on him about or whatever. But all you have to do is repeat back. So this is the big tip with having arguments. So Jim is my significant other and Ben is your husband of how many years now?
400. No, it has been, let's see, 17 years. And is it 17 years?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 16 years. And then we're going on 17. But we've been together like 25.
Okay, so Jim and I have only been together 7, so we should not be having these. We should still be like, not fighting about this kind of stuff. But yes, I'm a bit of a nag because I don't ever think people are listening to me unless you repeat back what I said. I just want to know that it got into the brain and down into the brainstem, and then I'll shut the hell up. And then I said to him, if you don't want me to nag, just do what I say. If you do it,
so basically
I won't
dictatorship. No, that doesn't work, Jill. But you know what does work for me sometimes is I completely pull back. And then Ben comes to his own realization and he says, listen, honey, I was sorry. I didn't mean to not, respond to you. I just, I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And then you find out a whole bunch of other things because they can open up. Sometimes when we're nagging, they just go into that box and they run.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes he, like I said, will go out and sneak more cigarettes on me.
Well, so now my problem is not only do I not get the desired outcome.
You've lost that battle.
Not only do I not get the desired outcome, I am definitely not a relationship coach. I'm good at getting the man, not keeping the man. I can get him, but then maybe I nag too much. But what I'm really bad at is, getting the effect that I want and making sure that the person heard what I said.
And a lot of times they don't even know how to answer. And a lot of times my husband will tell me, I don't know what to say to you. Like, you're asking me something, I don't have that answer right now. Like, even if it's good for him, if it's good for Jim, like, he shouldn't be eating certain foods, he may not be ready to take a whole plunge, still his life. And even though it affects you, he's got to come to his own realization. So sometimes we have to be gentle in our nagging skills, not too aggressive.
Oh, yeah. I lost my train of thought before, which is a senior moment that I just had. So that's exactly what did you say?
And who am I?
Wait, where am I? I grew up in Queens. I'm a fighter. So if somebody, if I'm saying something and I'm not getting the response I want, and then he combats me even just a little bit in any way, then I'm just like, I dive in, according to Jim. But I'm a fighter. I don't back down.
Well, you're a pit bull, basically.
I am a pit bull. I absolutely am.
You also have a very alpha personality.
I do.
And Jim is a little more passive on his alpha. And you're more like alpha, alpha, alpha.
Yeah, I am. I'm a triple type A.
Triple type A. So, the thing is, your method isn't working.
Right.
And that's what you got to look at. The result that you want to get isn't happening. So you got to change your strategy.
Well, by the time this show airs, I may make a change because we're going to that Tony Robbins event. We're going to the Date with Destiny.
Oh, wow.
So my other bitch fest is like, God, he really loves going to these Tony Robbins things. And I just look at, and Tony Robbins is great, but you can buy his books and his audio tapes.
Yeah, which I listen to his Date with Destiny audio.
Yeah. So, right. So we're going to Date with Destiny in person. Now, the Date with Destiny audio is like, I don't know, $150. Date with Destiny in person, $15,000.
Yeah, exactly. And well, God bless him, because that's how he does it. He's making that money and he's affecting people, and you come out of there feeling,
It's a crazy amount of money. I'm like, that was, the wedding we probably should have had that we just couldn't afford to do. That was the cruise that we wanted to take.
Probably the cruise and not the wedding. The wedding would probably be triple that, if anything.
Well, we would probably just elope on a cruise, but...
Oh, that's okay. Then it is. That's the best deal yet. But again, effective communication, ladies, this is so important, because I think this happens to us all. We don't feel like we're getting through. Like, you've been with someone for a long time and then you hit this wall.
Yeah.
And you're not getting through. And a lot of us, because we're emotional beings, emotional creatures, we get very upset and hurt, and that makes us even more naggy or more aggressive in our approach. It's the exact thing that turns a man away, by the way.
It does.
It's like feeding him poison. Don't do it.
It does. And I am so guilty of that. But Date with Destiny will hopefully break me out of that. I mean, I've made some breakthroughs with Tony Robbins, not like the kind that Jim does. And this is not an infomercial for Tony Robbins. I'm not saying go spend all your money. It's like, Jim follows a lot of these Silicon Valley dudes, like Tim Ferriss and, whatever, these guys, Elon Musk and whatever. And all of them, these like highfalutin 35 to 40-year-old CEOs of these big tech companies, they always say, Tony Robbins changed my life. I listened to him when I was 20-something.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I mean, I know people that say he did change their life, and he did set them on a path of success.
Yeah, and Jim listened to Unleash the Power Within and all the audio tapes, like back when they first came out, which is funny because I used to work at Guthy-Renker, the company that actually put out his first infomercial. So it all comes full circle. So I'm like, all right, I'll give him some money. But I didn't mean to put his kids through college.
Or the 17 private jets and so on and so forth.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying for at least 2 of his round trip tickets to Fiji.
Well, it's what you're going to get out of it, I guess, in the end, and what it's going to give you.
Yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, so I get a little bit bitchy about that because Jim makes an executive decision that, we'll just use our corporate credit cards to pay for it and it'll be a business expense.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well, Fine Tune Females is not making quite enough money yet.
Not yet.
We have no sponsors yet.
None.
So I'm like, I'm not sure that they're really paying for my first class ticket and the hotel to stay at the Tony Robbins event and then pay another, $7,500 each. So I'm bitching about that, and I'm bitching about, this is the fact that I am getting bitched out because my communication skills are less than effective and I want to get what I want, and I'm having a hard time doing it. And I should know better because communications was my major, and I just feel like bitchy because I'm failing at what I'm supposed to be good at.
Right. Well, also emotions play into that, fears, frustrations. And, sometimes it's other things that are aggravating you and it's all lashing out into one thing.
Yeah. And, my eggs are drying up.
And your, eggs are all shriveled. And
they're drying up and irritating me.
They're irritating you. Your skin's drying up. Everything's drying up. Eventually you'll just evaporate.
Yeah. When you cook an egg for too long, you hard boil it for too long and it cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just starting to crack. I think it's my eggs.
I know. Well, maybe you just have to get some new eggs. I don't know. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Some like stem cell egg reproduction or something that they have out there.
What I just learned is that because I really follow longevity research and all these doctors and scientists that research longevity, disease prevention, fasting for the prevention of disease and cancer and for increasing longevity. And one of the guys that I'm a fan of, whose book is coming out in 2019, a guy named David Sinclair, I was listening to an interview with him, and during that interview, I forgot if he said it or the person interviewing him did, but the first person who's going to live to 150 years old has probably already been born.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure of it, because didn't they predict something like by 2050 or something crazy like that? They expect the life expectancy to be increased to like 130.
120 to 130.
Yeah,
we already have people at about 120 right now.
Right. I think that's somewhere in Japan, actually. They found that the people that live the longest.
Yeah.
I just read an article on it.
Yeah, there's a few, like in those blue zones.
Yeah.
And in Okinawa.
That's it, Okinawa.
Yeah. And so there's a 120-year-old woman kicking around right now. And we know that there's a 100-year-old almost yoga instructor, Tao.
I know. She's incredible. The thing is, these women are like, I think that one, Tao, she specifically still wears little high heels. Is that the one that we're talking about?
She was a dancer.
She was a dancer. So she still wears like heels with her leggings.
Yeah, and teaches yoga. So if you don't know who we're talking about, we found her in the Athleta. We Athleta's a brand of fitness clothing.
Right.
And they had her featured in one of their catalogs.
Yeah.
But you can just look up Tao, T-A-O.
She's amazing. And she's in New York, right?
Yeah, she's in New York. Right. And she was a dancer. And now she's like the oldest living yoga instructor,
she
still
really
practicing every day.
I'm telling you, these women are incredible.
She is a fine-tuned female.
She is very fine-tuned. She looks fine-tuned. She looks great in her leggings and what she's wearing. I mean, she's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to me.
Okay, let's get back to you.
What I need to learn, I need to really work on, these better communication skills and how to not be so combative. Because I don't even mean to be doing it. It's just like, I grew up in Queens, and that I tell Jim all the time, and I tell one of my clients, Roger, because he's from New Jersey, so we bicker back and forth a little bit too. And and he likes to give me lessons because he's a good 15 years older than me or so, and he was president of a studio, and he president of 2 film studios. Wow. And he really knows how to deal with people, because he ran 2 studios in Hollywood. And so he tells me the same thing Jim does, only without yelling at me.
Right. Well, again, your nature is to be your nature, so that really won't change. You're going to be combative. That's who you are. I think you just have to re-strategize it. You can be combative, it's not a problem, but maybe re-strategizing or knowing when to step back a little.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is I don't know I'm being combative. It's just like I talk like a New Yorker. I got rid of the accent a long time ago because I went to school for communications.
Right.
And so I don't speak like a New Yorker, but like that attitude, it's just how I talk. I'm just very direct. If it's on my mind, it's on my mouth. I'm to the point, and it used to be a good thing. I mean, when a man does it, when Robert De Niro does it, it's a good thing.
Right.
But when a woman does it, we're a bitch.
Right. Well, we are. Basically we are bitches. I think there's also a saying that, less is more. And, my mom always taught me that sometimes you step back and you say less and you'll actually get more.
Oh, your mom's Canadian.
I know.
Let's talk about New Jersey, Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens.
There is a fine-tuned female way of, sometimes just removing yourself and getting what you want rather than plunging in and fighting the battle of all battles.
Yeah, that's so I really, have to work on that. I thought that I had conquered that
Yeah.
And I did not. And I took a big back step when Jim had to go off his cholesterol medication. And then the holidays are coming up and he's talking about pumpkin pie. And I'm like,
You cannot make that decision. That has to come from him. What you could say is, honey, I'm really worried about your cholesterol, and just try to take it easy at Thanksgiving, and let him maybe just start by reducing things on a holiday. This doesn't mean after Thanksgiving that he can continue that. Then
Right, he
then you
knows
can
that.
go. Yeah. So give him that bonus.
so I shouldn't have said, like hell you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah? Like hell you are?
Yeah, because he's not your kid, and even your kid would retaliate. you know?
I didn't realize it was coming out like that.
Yeah,
and
right.
I didn't realize it. I was like, no, I'm going to make food for you. So so here's the topic. We're going to have a little change of what's on our paper notes
Yeah,
that we were going
right.
to talk about. So let's say you're going to a party.
Right.
Now, I practice different types of diets. I mean, it is my business
Right.
to know what it's like to be on a ketogenic diet, know what it's like to be on a paleo diet so I can guide people,
Right.
know what it's like to be on a vegan diet or Mediterranean diet, what have you. So
Right.
I'm an experiment. I experiment on myself, and I don't give guidance unless I thoroughly understand what a person's going through and what kind of food is going to be beneficial to them for
Right.
weight loss and health.
Right.
So I practice on myself first. So now what I always tell clients is that when you're going to a party, there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, what are you going to have there? And asking them questions and maybe bringing a few dishes that that you can eat,
Well, that's a very touchy subject. I agree that you can. Listen, I have friends that have children that are super allergic to something, and if they touch it, even with their fingertips, they'll be in the hospital.
Exactly.
So sometimes they'll say, I'm sorry, but my child has special needs for foods. I'm going to have to bring something along because they can't really eat anything that has this or that in it, and I don't want to drive you guys crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to pray. Then there's people that have religion things, like they're religiously they're kosher, or they don't, they're vegan. I mean,
Right.
You have everything here, but you have to be minimal about it. Like, you can't bring a bunch of things when somebody's prepared a whole meal the whole day, because it is insulting, and it depends who it is. Like, if you did it to my house, I wouldn't be offended because I know you.
Right.
But if it's your boss or something like that, you have to be very delicate with it. So perhaps bring one dish and then just don't eat a lot there, and just be part of the festivity without insulting or hurting anybody's feelings. Because, people do get offended. I find that's happened to me. Even if somebody says, oh, my grandmother made these cookies, you have to try one, and you say no, and they feel hurt. So I take one and I may not eat it. I may just hold it and then later on just discard it or something. And I know that's not a good thing to do either, but it's better than offending someone.
Yeah, see, I'm combative.
Unless you have an allergy that's going to make you die like nuts or something.
Jim has an allergy to saturated fat.
Yeah, but Jim has to have a bonus day. So you give him half of what he wants and a little bit of what you want.
But what if he's allergic to peanuts and it's peanuts?
But that's an allergy that's deadly on the minute. Meaning, I have a friend who, if she touches a peanut, she can almost die.
Yeah, I have friends like that too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's great. But I mean, people don't realize that if you have the genetic predisposition to having high cholesterol like Jim does, we did 23andMe, we know what genes we have that are most likely going to kill us.
But I don't think one day of eating is going to kill him. It's a listen.
But how do you know? How do you know?
Jim is already much healthier than most of his family back home who have this condition and have died young. I mean, he exercises, he eats really well. He has a much different. He doesn't smoke. Already he's preconditioned to being a lot healthier than most.
But he's got 50 years of damage to undo.
Well, he has 50 years of damage to undo, but he's been doing good right now in his life since he's been with you.
Right, but that's just a few years compared to 50 years of abuse.
I know, but like I said, should Ben be smoking? I mean, there's cancer in the family, blah, blah, blah. I mean, no, he shouldn't. He should have stopped years ago, but he does it. And if I enforce it on him, he'll just get angry at me, and he'll do it in secret anyway. So you can't really control that.
Yeah. That's
you
true.
can't really control that.
I want control.
I know, me too. I would be a wonderul controller, by the way.
Ladies, we have to. We should be taking over the world. I mean, we know it's best for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. We're goddesses.
So I decided I want to make sweet potatoes because who doesn't want sweet potatoes or yams?
Well, they probably have them there, so they're going to wonder, why are you bringing sweet potatoes?
Because they're going to have butter, and I'm going to bring ones that don't have butter.
So he'll have a spoonful of the ones with butter, and tomorrow he won't touch butter.
He's having
Or
the ones
the
I'm
day
making.
after.
He's having the ones I'm making.
You can't do that to him.
Yes.
But if
Watch
you do that to him, you're going to push him away. I guarantee you, it's going to start more of a problem. Don't you want peaceful harmony in your relationship?
I told him, I go, comes from a place of love. I mean, I love potatoes with butter, but I, in solidarity with you, my love, will make vegan.
She's softening up already.
Yes, I will make vegan yams. And who knows, maybe there's somebody at the party.
But it is his life. You do what you want for you, but he will not, you can't live his life for him. You can guide him. And that's what a good friend, a good parent, or anybody who means well does. Your children, you guide them, tell them don't drink alcohol, don't smoke, but you can't control them.
But
no buts.
But what if you're vegan? You can't have butter if you're vegan.
Is he vegan?
We're going to go back to being vegan. Yeah, that's the.
Or he made that decision, or did you? Okay,
well,
so that's good.
We're going to go back to it because that's the best diet.
Right.
If you have genetically high cholesterol, all heart doctors are like, best thing, be plant-based.
Listen, I try to live a healthy life. I'm not the greatest. I'm not like you. I don't go to that level, but I try to keep things balanced. Now, my husband, he may not eat as well as I do all the time, or I may not eat as well all the time, but those are our choices. We can only guide. I can only say that it's not good to have that cigarette, or it's not good to have that much wine or something.
Yeah.
But we can't enforce it. The minute you start enforcing, you're creating a bridge between two people.
Well, I know I can't enforce it because obviously he's bigger than me.
He's going to take his little hobo bag and he's going to go on the road.
He's bigger than me.
Yeah.
But
that's what they do.
But I don't think it's
They start
rude.
taking off or leaving. And then you wonder, why did they leave?
I don't think it's rude to bring an alternative vegan version of a dish.
One dish.
And then I'm making quinoa stuffing because what if some people are trying to go low carb and they don't want to have bread? So what's wrong with quinoa stuffing?
So proper etiquette. This is by etiquette rules because, I was raised with etiquette and I learned all about, how to be properly mannered at an event. Proper etiquette states that you can do that, but you have to ask the host or the hostess if they mind. That would be proper etiquette.
Okay, well, I think Jim asked.
Yeah.
And just mentioned. And I think that the hostess of the party is just lacking room on the table.
Right.
So we'll just put it in the kitchen or something.
Well, and then people, their fridges are stuffed with extra things and they get really annoyed. So it's always best to clear it first and say, I apologize. I don't mean to be infringing. And I know you cooked a lovely meal. However, I am allergic to this. So I have to bring a little side dish.
I'm allergic to your fat ass food.
Terrible. People work hard for this holiday.
I'm kidding. No,
I usually be festive.
Yeah, before
you can have fat ass food for one day, and then you can go on your fast for the rest of the week.
Yeah, if people do. But this is just a hard time of year in my industry because this is when people put on a good 5 pounds. Like the majority of their weight gain is this time of year, and then people tend not to lose it. So, I can't afford. Obviously, when I work with a client, I'm just there to guide them and give them better alternatives and give them suggestions and tricks and tactics and strategies on how to eat a little bit less. But, when it's my world and Jim, I'll just walk in and be like, okay, we have to have the vegan this and we can't eat the saturated fat that. And it's just for our health. It's not because I don't want to.
You can't say we can't. Say, I suggest not to. Because, it has a lot of butter in it and maybe that's not really great for you. And if he decides to do it anyway, then that's his, cross to bear. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you do something about it, eventually he'll get pissed off and he'll take off.
He better just triple up his life insurance.
Oh my God.
Kidding.
We're going to get a lot of haters on this episode.
I would love, ladies, if you guys can just tell us what you think about etiquette, because I think that people need to do what's right for their health. And I think, to me, it's rude to tell someone that they're rude because you're bringing something to the party that other people might enjoy, even if it's a duplicate dish, but it's an alternative version.
You have to ask them first.
Fine.
You're on their territory. And you know what? A relationship is not a dictatorship.
When you go to somebody's house to visit, you still bring like a dessert or you bring a side dish.
A bottle of wine.
But you don't ask. You just bring it.
Well, I do actually.
Bring us some extra taters. I'm just bringing some extra taters. Don't hate me.
I always ask. I always say, what can I bring? Because I'm going to bring something. And then they'll say, I'll bring a bottle of wine or bring a dessert. So I always do ask.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Once I did bring wine, and it was a kosher house, and I didn't realize that the wine had to be kosher because they were very traditional. And so they didn't let me bring the wine in the house.
Oh, yeah, you can't bring it in.
Right.
Well, you could just drink it
So
out.
best
drink
to
it,
ask.
Drink it out in the driveway. I'll be right back. Hang on, where did it need to go?
But, you know, you have to respect other people's traditions or other people's environment because it is their environment.
Yeah.
Not yours.
I guess I just always, to me, health and fitness is the most important thing. So I don't like anything to infringe on my ability to do what I'm trying to do for my health and fitness. And I feel, to me, it's rude for someone to say, no, you can't bring potatoes because I'm already making potatoes.
Well, next time you have a dinner event at your place, I'm just going to impose myself and I'm going to bring deep fried, greasy junk food and sugars, and I'm going to put it right in front of Jim.
Oh, well.
I'm going to totally say,
that will
forget
really,
her.
That will really be the test then, won't it, for him? See how serious he really is.
Yeah, right. I don't think one meal will do it to him. I mean, if he had,
but we don't know that. That's
time.
the problem is because his CCTA scan, the coronary artery scan of the calcium deposits, came out bad. I mean, bad. Like it's what a 90-year-old should have, or it's bad.
Wow.
And he's 57, so it scared the freaking crap out of me.
Right.
No, I was like, what, that?
I get it.
Holy
it's like
shit.
having a bad allergy, so you don't want your kids to have like nuts if they're very allergic to nuts. Even if they get just an allergic reaction, you don't want them to go through that.
Yeah, I saw that scan. I'm like, you work out, you eat pretty good, you exercise, you're exercising, you get plenty of sleep. Holy shit, that is bad genetics,
It's a genetic predisposition. There's nothing you can do. Sometimes you're born with it. And
he was. And then eating bad food for 50 years or not really, not being aware of this for 50 years, put him way over the top. I mean, this was a really bad scan.
I know what you could do. You could stuff those yams and sneak them under, wear a really big dress and strap all your food on and go in like you didn't do anything wrong. Bring a bottle of wine and maybe I'll put him in a corner where he can eat his little meal in secret.
I'll sprinkle Lipitor on all the food. Hold on a second. I'm just going to drop some Lipitor into everything.
Also, Jim might be also reacting from his new meds, so that might make him a little more cranky.
Well, that's the problem is that because he had such an adverse reaction to the first statin he tried. I mean, really, really bad.
Right.
Like worse than, you're really sensitive to prescription drugs.
Oh, my goodness.
So is he. And my mom took a lot of prescription drugs while she was pregnant with me, so
I think you have a great, defense against them now.
I have a really strong constitution. I have bad allergies, but I have a really strong constitution when it comes to prescription medications. I really don't get most of the side effects, and they don't hit me hard.
You built an immunity. See, sometimes doing things during your pregnancy that you think are bad are actually protecting your offspring.
Yes, my mom's addictions really paid off.
There you go. You see how healthy you are as a result. And all these healthy moms and their kids get everything.
Yeah.
They have all these allergies, all these conditions, lactose intolerance, this.
Yeah, so
makes you wonder.
So Jim has this terrible predisposition, genetically for cholesterol. So he didn't realize how bad it was till he did the scan, and so it's bad. So so I just got scared.
Well, it's normal to be scared, and Jim is adjusting to something new too, so it's a little scary for him, I suppose. And
he doesn't do well with the prescription, so he had to go off the Crestor, and now it's going to be a big holiday feast, and he's on no cholesterol medication, and that's what is scaring me.
Right.
It wouldn't have bothered me last week if he was still taking it. Yeah.
Well, I think Jim also wants to be able to live his life the way he used to, like enjoy the things he wants. Nobody wants to have things taken away from you that you enjoy. That's the hardest thing to do. And, there's always a debate between people saying, well, if you die, at least you died doing things you love doing rather than having to be so strict about everything. So I don't know,
Yeah.
Would you want to live a long life but you're miserable? Or do you want to live a short life but you're happy and you're doing everything you want to do to the maximum? And people do that. And sometimes those people that do, they end up outliving everybody because their attitude is less stressed. I don't know.
That's true too. That's what Roger said to me.
Yeah.
But I enjoy, I love the control, having control over my body. So I love knowing that I can do this exercise or try this routine or do this diet and literally see and feel the changes. I love and the feeling of power that you have when you literally take control of your health and your fitness just because of what you're eating and not eating.
No, I agree with that. as long as it's not creating stress for you, because stress is the number one killer. And so if you're like, some people get all stressed out about it.
Heart disease is the number one killer.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was stress.
Heart disease.
Well, doesn't stress cause heart
can.
problems and heart attacks?
It can.
Isn't that sort of like a root?
It can. If you have heart disease, stress
Yeah.
will make it worse.
But I mean, stress is basically really bad for you. It's toxic.
Yeah.
So you're living a toxic life if you're stressed out about everything. So you're actually defeating the whole purpose of what you're doing, if that's the case.
Well, that's the thing. What's more stressful? So you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, oh, that doesn't look good. And then you're like, what doc? What doc? Am I going to live? What doc? What doc? Or, you turn down this, you turn down a little bit of that, you work out like this, so you take out some sugar from your diet, you take out some processed food from your diet, maybe you eliminate all of it. And, you go to a restaurant, you have to ask for, can I have the salad dressing on the side, or can I have the balsamic vinaigrette?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually it's not so stressful, it becomes habit. It's stressful in your mind when you're like, oh my God, I eat a totally shit diet and I don't work out. I have to make a major life change. The stress is thinking about the change. The stress is not, once you start doing it, it's not stressful. I mean, when we go to a restaurant, we're like, can I have that grilled? Can I have that on the side?
Right.
Once you're doing it, it's not stressful. It's the thought of starting that's stressful.
And it takes time to get used to unaddict yourself to things.
Yeah. And so the stress is more about worrying, how am I going to make this lifestyle change? How am I going to start exercising every day? I can't even wake up 5 minutes early, much less 45 minutes early to do my 30-minute workout. Right. So that's the stressful part.
Right.
But once you're doing it, it's so not a big deal. So I don't feel like by making changes, taking sugar out of my diet or taking processed food or certain carbs out of my diet, I don't feel stressful, but stressed about it. But sometimes I stress when I'm thinking, okay, when I started the keto diet for a while, I had to experiment on that for myself. And I was stressing out before I did it. And then once I started it, it was no big deal.
Right.
It's the conceptualization. I think that, all these self-help gurus talk about that too. It's like you get yourself in a crazy frenzy worrying about it and thinking about it. Once you start doing it, it is no big deal.
But I like exceptions. I mean, birthdays and things that are exceptional. You are a wedding where you have a glass of champagne. I mean, there's got to be some, no barriers to everything. Like, you have to have some reward at some point, once in a while, as long as it isn't a constant.
Yeah.
And also, like, to your point, sometimes if you don't, if you're too careful, then you have no immunity to anything anymore either, which, isn't good.
We have no immunity to sugar.
But a little sugar
food.
once in a while, it's okay. It's not, it's not the worst thing. I mean, it's not like you're taking poison or you're eating something that's gone rotten. It's okay to have a little bit once in a while on a special occasion. And then the rest of the year, that's the price you pay. You pay that price the rest of your year so that you're allowed to give yourself that reward once in a while.
Yeah, you can if you do a really hard workout before or a really hard workout after, the sugar's not going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And then the American Heart Association recommendation for just to be generally healthy for a woman is to keep their sugar intake to 25 grams of added sugar a day or less. So I'm not saying zero sugar, but if you're going on a ketogenic diet, you have to be pretty darn close to zero. You can only have about 30 grams of carbohydrate period a day. 50 to 100 if you work out really hard.
And that's not stressful to monitor all that?
That's what thinking about it is the stressful part. Planning it in your head and thinking how hard it's going to be is the hard, stressful part. Once you do it, it's no big deal. I found the foods I liked, and I was like, I'm just going to eat this every day. This is delicious. Yum, 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 yum. And it was no big deal. And then I did my 1 month of it, and then I went back to more of a paleo diet. So it's really just getting your head wrapped around it. That's the hard part. Same thing like, I have to wake up 45 minutes early or an hour early to go to the gym or get my workout in. Thinking about it is way worse than actually the day you actually roll out of bed and start moving. Because the second you start moving, in about 5 minutes, you're like, why haven't I been doing this my whole life? I feel amazing.
Well, that's true. But you know what? When I really think about it, like, are we really being healthy here? We live in LA. Air quality is so poor here in general. And then we get added bonuses like fires and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to be healthy, why aren't we thinking about that and go move to Oregon or some other place where the air quality is much better?
I know a lot of people who move to Oregon.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, you could be doing all this, and in the interim, you're still living in a very toxic quality of oxygen that you're inhaling every day.
Yeah.
So it's like you're counteracting counteracting what you're trying to do.
Well, if you live in an environment where there's a lot of toxins like pollutants,
Right.
what you have to do
Wear a face mask.
Yeah, and even more so, it's better to be on a plant-based diet because you're getting a lot more of these
C4s?
C4s?
Or chlorophyll. Chlorophyll.
No, you're getting more of the high-level antioxidants.
Right.
If you're plant-based, you're getting a lot of antioxidants in.
Right.
A lot of these foods that increase methylation, which remove toxins from your body. Your natural.
Well, you're also making everything less acidic in your blood. So, it's more, like you said, it's more beneficial to your body.
But your body, so there's all this whole thing about pH balance in water and all
Right.
this and alkalinity.
Right.
Your body does that automatically. That's what ions are for.
Okay.
In your body.
Right.
So our cells automatically, it's called homeostasis.
Right.
And your body just automatically does it. So even whether you drink lemon water in the morning or not, your body through homeostasis is going to.
Well, what if you're eating red meat every day? And not a lot of vegetables, let's say.
You're going to get gout, colon cancer, and a heart attack. No.
Lovely.
I'm just kidding, because there are people that are on the carnivore diet, and that's all they eat.
That exists?
It exists.
I never heard of that. No,
I thought you were trying to do a little lead-in with a new diet.
No, but hey, I'll take it.
The carnivore diet actually exists. All they eat is meat.
Really? So how is that supposed to be good for you? I mean, I don't understand. What's the
Interesting.
benefit?
You should ask. There are no long-term studies. We'll see.
Because they have all died.
We'll see what happens to those guys. I don't know. Also, the ketogenic diet does a lot of amazing things, but we don't have any long-term studies, so no one really knows how beneficial it is. So
Right.
The one thing that we do know is people who are mostly vegetarian are the people that are in the blue zones, and they live the longest. So out of all of the research we have, most research points to the fact that a kind of paleo diet or a vegan diet is kind of where the people live the longest.
I just never understood that, because since the beginning of mankind, we were meant to eat meat or anything that we could eat and kill or find or harvest. So, it was just survival. Mm-hmm. There was no question about whether we should be eating this or that. It was just how you survived.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Is it unnatural to just be vegan or vegetarian? Like, aren't we meant to consume a little meat?
Yeah, we are, because if we were meant to be vegetarian, then vegetarians wouldn't need to supplement with vitamin B.
Right.
Because our bodies would be like, oh, this is normal for me.
And we wouldn't eat certain teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So no, it's not natural. But is it healthier? It might be a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, because the people that live the longest, they mostly eat seafood, not a lot of meat, and some whole grains, and lots of veggies and fruit.
Right. They eat a lot of shellfish, because shellfish, retain a lot of minerals and.
But now the Seventh-day Adventists down in Loma Linda, they're one of the blue zone people, and they're vegetarian.
Wow.
Yeah. And, there's a guy, I forgot, there was one of those documentaries about plant-based eating, and there's a doctor who's like 103 years old who's still working.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, I don't eat, I did cut down my meat. I did substantially for many reasons aside from health. And, but I can't cut it out completely. So I might have it once a week.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about red meat.
Yeah, red meat,
Yeah.
like, a steak or some beef, or
I
once
think
every 2 weeks.
I think chicken is a meat, turkey is a meat, and I consider fish a type of meat.
Right, yeah.
I mean, even though because I have a lot of friends who call themselves vegetarian, but I'm like, you're eating seafood, technically. You're not a vegetarian.
Okay, what about shrimp and things
You're
like that?
pescatarian.
What about seafood, like shrimp or...
Yeah, I just call it
Is it meat?
pescatarian. Yeah, I mean, I think, to me, my definition of meat is something that comes from a living animal,
Right.
or a living creature.
Right.
But some people don't. Some people consider fish something different because they don't have legs.
Yeah, well,
So I don't know.
Do they have a
meant.
heartbeat?
Yes, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I consider fish a type of meat, but so just to keep things clear, most of the time I'm pescatarian, and I just say, oh, I'm pescatarian.
Right.
Unless I'm trying keto or doing some more paleo, where you
Yeah.
go a little bit higher in protein, and then I eat a little more red meat, but I try not to. So did we clear up whatever the topic we started on? Women. Why do we do that?
Well, we started with what was bitching.
We started with
this week.
bitching.
What was your bitch of the week?
Went into cholesterol. Did I answer that question?
You answered that question really well and extensively. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jelly.
Okay, so let's talk about something fun now.
Okay, what's fun?
We said we were going to talk about, at our ages, we're over 50, but we've been talking about this since we met in our early 40s, dressing sexy but not slutty.
Well, I hate to say age-appropriate dressing, but I think there's a fine line between, at this age, looking awkward, like it doesn't work anymore. Certain things that you might have done in your 20s just may not look good anymore, even though you might think it is, and you can embrace it, and that's up to you. or, you know, but you still want to feel sexy. I mean, we all want to feel sexy. We all want to feel attractive. And that doesn't mean you have to, you know, just wear long dresses to your ankles and whatnot because you're a certain age.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I think everyone, if you're not sure, just snap a selfie, put it on Facebook or Instagram, and say, do I look sexy or slutty? And then put your age underneath there, and then just, you know, let social media do its thing. They'll let you know.
What would you define as dressing slutty in your opinion? Not much for Jill, because
yeah, really,
maybe walking outside in a thong and ripped fishnets. I don't know.
That's a good question. I mean, to me, it usually has to do with as you know, inappropriate makeup.
Right.
You know, that just makes you look older and trying too hard.
That could also be dated. Some things look dated.
Clothing, yeah. So, you know, if you're 50 years old, should you or should you not shop at Forever 21 and Target?
Well, I think you can. I mean, there are definitely pieces there for, I don't think it's age. There's an age limit to those brands because Forever 21 isn't specifically junior. It's more like runway items at a, you know, affordable price that they do. So they can turn things around in 2 weeks from the runway to the store.
Yeah. That's Zara.
Oh, we're talking about Forever 21?
Oh, Forever 21?
I was talking about Zara. You're right.
Okay.
Forever 21 is more junior. You're correct.
Yeah, I think Forever 21 is very junior.
It's definitely more junior.
Yeah. So,
but you can still find things. I mean, what's stopping you from getting a T-shirt at Forever 21?
Yeah, no, I was on...
Or leggings.
I was doing an infomercial shoot for a fitness product, and the outfit I wanted to wear, which was ultra core...
Right.
didn't look as good as me as the 22-year-old model. Damn it.
But ultra core, isn't it got a funny waistline? I don't like the waistline on it.
Even though I have very low body fat, I had the skin hanging over. I got wrinkles, you know.
What skin?
So I put that on, and the producer, God love her, is a friend of mine. We went to film school together, and she's like, "Okay, let's try on this outfit." So
high-waisted leggings.
She put me on the high waist. She did the aloe high waisted.
Very nice.
And then,
love aloe.
And then she put me in this cute little top, which happened to be from Forever 21.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a selection. You can shop anywhere. I don't think there's a limit to where you can shop. I think it's how you shop.
Okay, so how do you look sexy and not slutty over 40 or over 50?
Well, listen, most of us, our bodies aren't as firm as they used to be, no matter how good shape you're in. You know, you have to be careful. Like, you know, panty lines under a really tight skirt, and then there's little bulging. Doesn't look so good from the back, but we can't see how we look in the back. So it's like a good thing to maybe consider wearing either a seamless underwear or something, because, you know, your butt isn't as firm as it used to be, and then it looks a little cheesy after that. It doesn't look as good.
Well, the panty lines are just trashy. I mean,
well, you know, but a lot of women like to cover and wear boy shorts or whatever, but you got to be careful with those panty lines, because especially if you're wearing something really tight that you're trying to squeeze into, you know, it's going to show double bulges, and it's actually going to make you look like you have more back there than you do, or it's uneven. So you got to be careful with that. I mean, when you're 20, you don't even have to worry half the time. Most people don't. Whether you're, you know, heavier set or thin, you're still firmer. Yeah. That's the key. Things aren't as firm anymore. So you got to be careful. There's little bulges on the waistline. So things that are tight around the waist, sometimes maybe size up for those kind of things, just to give a little more room so it doesn't look like you're trying to squeeze and trying too hard, as you would say.
So are we equating sexy with trashy, like just like looking not well put together?
Well, trashy, you know.
Or are there certain things that you definitely should stay away from?
I don't know. It really depends. You know, I see people that put looks together with things that I couldn't wear, but look fantastic on them. So it's really a body type issue. You know, you don't want to, you know, we're not going to nightclubs hanging out anymore. So you don't really want to dress up like, you know, you don't want to wear a skirt that looks like a belt. You know, unless it's done really tastefully.
Looks like a belt.
Yeah, unless it's done really tastefully. So if you're going to do that, don't wear a tube top with it and go out partying, you know, type of thing.
I used to wear a tube top as a skirt.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
The tube top was my skirt.
I used to wear it as a dress. Yeah. But today I don't think I could get away with that. So maybe you can still wear, you know, something really short and sexy, but then you do something really flattering and nice and chic on the top. And then it balances it out. You know?
Okay, so you wear something like...
And I'm not saying not to wear something fitted, but I'm just saying it has to be, you know, so that it doesn't actually take away from what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would look slutty, like other than the visible panty lines? I mean,
No, that's not
if you're
slutty,
wearing
it's
like
just-
catsuity thing all over the place, like if you're or having rolls or things sticking out from your clothes, like.
Well, sometimes women, like especially if you're single or you've gone through divorce, you really want to find somebody and you really want to look like you used to look.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're not there anymore.
Right.
So you have to make minor adjustments. And sometimes it's just, you can wear the same things, maybe just sizing up one more so that, it doesn't show all those bulges. And
Oh, good idea.
You may not be in terrible shape. You may be in great shape, but you still get a little something. You know how when you wear your bra and you get that little piece of skin, or things aren't just not the way they used to be. It's just aging. There's nothing you can do.
What about? I would think that wearing better fitting clothing. So you may have to invest in like more upscale pieces of clothing that are just going to be constructed better. Which is why I was bringing up the
Right.
point about Forever 21.
Right. I mean, listen, I see some very attractive older women, older than me. They're beautiful. And I'm like, God, that woman's gorgeous. And then I look at what she's wearing and I'm like, oh, she just killed it. She went from looking like she could have been really chic and sexy in a very chic way to looking trashy and dated because she's trying to wear something she might have worn like 30, 40 years ago that isn't working anymore, that look. You got to
What's
adjust.
an example?
Well, you could say like a cat suit. Certain people trying to wear cat suit and then they cinch on this belt and they're trying to do over the knee boots and thigh high boots on top of it.
You're wearing them.
Yes, but I got it with a bulky sweater.
Yeah, no, those are really cute.
And, even if I wore this with a really short skirt or whatever, there's a way to do it where it doesn't take away from what you've got. You want what you've got to work for you. You want to look the best you can at the age you are. And these things actually age you when you're trying to look too young. They make you look older because it's
true.
obvious you're trying.
Yeah. Well, the makeup is a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
And then clothes that don't fit exactly right.
Don't fit, or wearing trends that are not age appropriate. Like perhaps catsuits aren't age appropriate unless you're wearing a long boyfriend blazer over them and belting it or something. Then it looks like leggings. But you don't really need to, try to be what you're not. Embrace what you are today because
What if
it's
you
beautiful.
are 50 years old and a slut?
Then you have to go for it. I'm not a judge.
If you are slutty, should you dress? If you are a slut, should you dress slutty?
Well, yeah, but you could be a really good-looking slut versus like a cheesy dated slut.
Okay, so
I'd rather be a good-looking slut than a cheesy dated slut because
that's right, because we have the high press call girls. And they
like if I'm going to wear that leopard print catsuit,
Yeah.
I might wear a big sweater over it or something over it to make it look less slutty if that's my taste, if that's what I'm going to go for, I'm not just going to wear it and put my thigh-high velvet stretchy boots over it, type of thing.
Well, we do have a lot of call girls here. Whenever you go to one of the really upscale hotels
Right.
in Los Angeles
Yeah.
and Beverly Hills, you will see call girls. But it's funny because
But are they 60 or 50 or 40?
No, they're younger, but it's funny because, sometimes they dress so elegant that you don't actually know that they are one until you realize that they've been
Oh my
sitting at
God,
the bar
they're
alone.
so beautiful.
And they're
Right.
talking to every guy that walks in. You're like, oh, I get it.
Well, maybe guys are attracted to the tight, squeezy things, but maybe that's not the kind of guy you want, really.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Maybe you do want a guy with a little bit more, longevity who's going to be a keeper.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, so if you do want attention,
Right.
Should you, other than using your spectacular
But I
personality?
always say that you want to draw good attention to you. You want to get nice compliments. You don't want to, do you want to, like, shit attracts flies. So do you want to attract, or do you want to attract something really nice?
Yeah, okay, good point.
And how do you want to be perceived by people? Because, first impressions, they last forever. When you see somebody, we're always sizing someone up by the way they look, what they're wearing. It's just things that women do. And it's not meant to be catty or judgmental. It's just a habit, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Like if, let's just say we all want beautiful teeth. Well, if you had brown and yellow teeth, that would ruin your beautiful face if you had a really beautiful face. So you've got to maintain things properly.
Yeah.
If you so choose. Again, I'm not a judge. I'm just giving an opinion.
So slutty versus sexy. What's the takeaway for people?
What do you mean?
Well, what's the key thing to keep in mind? Like you're going out with your girls' night out.
You want to make sure that you're not taking away from your assets and what you do have. Like, if you're trying to squeeze into something that doesn't fit you and is really tight, that just doesn't look good. And everybody can tell that you're trying to do that. You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
Right? And I know a lot of women, they wear Spanx and all that, which is fine because then it flatters everything. But the thing is, you want to dress so that you look chic and fashionable and trendy, not cheesy and dated. Because a lot of these things that are trendy for like these younger people look cheesy on people our age.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
What are a couple of things like right now that women should not be wearing? Like what's in fashion at the moment?
Well, I know on trend right now are these biker shorts, these like spandex biker shorts. Looks really great on young girls who, wear it with the right sneaker and a long blazer over it or something. Not so sure it looks great on women our age unless you're incredibly fit.
Yeah, if you have knee wrinkles.
Yeah, if you have knee wrinkles and all that, you're not really doing anything to flatter yourself, That's a trend left maybe for a little bit of a younger market. I wore them when they were in trend way back.
Me too. Well, that's what you worked out in.
Right. I know, but they're wearing them to go out even.
Yeah,
it's you wear a big sweater over it or you put a jacket over it and, it could be worn with boots. It could be worn with sneakers. You can convert that look.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it looks great, and especially on older women. When I see an older woman wearing it, I'm like, I would have rethought that.
You've seen older women wearing that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, totally. Because some women just will do anything to be on trend. Even if the trend lasts 5 minutes, they have to have it. Not necessarily looking great on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big believer in
Unless you're cycling and you're really wearing them for an exercise purpose.
Yeah. I believe in just wearing what looks good on your body because, I have more of like an athletic body with wide shoulders and narrow hips. So I don't look good in like a lot of like these skirts and dresses, like when the midi length or the maxi length comes in, it makes my legs look too skinny.
And that's another trend that was, you said it, midi. It's nice to have a maxi dress. I believe it's nice to have something knee length or something short. That midi is very missifying. It can age you tremendously. It might look good on a 20-year-old waif, but it's certainly hard to wear, because it ages us. Some things really age you.
Yeah, I just look funny in it because my shoulders are broad, and then you have like these two little twigs sticking out underneath.
And they're probably wearing them with like combat boots or something, the young girls, and they're making it really cool, But it's not, or that whole prairie thing. I mean, it was nice, but it doesn't, when I try it on, I look real dumpy in it. I'm like, oh, get that off of me. It has to be worn a certain way and a certain cut. So there are certain midi lengths that could be worn that look great. You just have to accessorize and make it look cool and not frumpy.
Yeah, so going back to just maybe it's getting higher quality clothes. So if you want something super trendy, maybe you do have to cough up the money and go and get a really nice brand versus going and getting the knockoff brand at Zara or Forever 21, which is going to be more cheaply made. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, you could wear a midi dress that's like a long shirt dress and belt it or put a waist bag with it and it could be really cool, know? That's a cool way. But there's other ways that just don't look good. And the cheaper the quality, the worse it looks.
Well, we have episodes coming up where you will be showing us how to do that in your closet. Because we got these new amazing cameras that I can go handheld with
fun. Now she's going to follow me.
Yeah, and so you can give us some great lessons on that, which I'm really excited about.
Some ideas. I share ideas.
Okay. So in the next episode, what we didn't get around to today that we were going to talk about is going gray or not to go gray.
To be gray or not to be gray? That is the question.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear what you have to say about it, and we'll certainly be talking our ears and your ears off about whether to go gray or not.
Well, you know that gray in 2017 and this year was the #1 hair color trend that people were dyeing their hair.
But it was that silver gray, like the...
Yeah, they call it like a silver fox.
Yeah.
Right.
My father had that color hair,
right.
So I will have that one day naturally. But I hope to get it.
There are some women that are really beautiful. I mean, look at Jamie Lee Curtis with her pixie cut.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren. And then there's some, believe it or not, do you know that there's a top model, she's 85 years old and she's still rocking the modeling world?
Oh, I've seen a few of these.
Beautiful. Yeah. She's gorgeous. And it's like, women in their 60s doing Sports Illustrated with gray hair.
Yeah, this commercial that I did, the one I was telling you about where I wore the Forever 21 top, they put this other woman in Beyond Yoga. So we're going to talk about our favorite things, but there are some just really beautiful like workout wear things that you can wear like in and out of the gym.
Right.
So there's this one style by Beyond Yoga, and they put her in this, and she's a mix. She's like part African American, part Indian. Korean, part something Asian. So, and you've probably seen her. She's in like, I think the Athletic catalog now, and she's a well-known model, and she has this salt and pepper hair.
Right.
And she's stunning. I love her. I can't think of her name offhand, but
I think some women look really attractive with gray hair at any age. I mean, it started with the whole K-pop thing where, and in Asia where they were doing it, or doing half their hair in white, or vice versa, getting black tips on white hair. And
is that where it started?
it kind of started there, the roots.
I thought it started with being over 50.
Well, no, actually, gray hair, this is a fun fact. Gray hair starts earlier with the lighter your skin. So usually Caucasian women start in their 30s if they're going to get it. It's also genetically predisposed, of course. And then the darker your skin is, the later you get gray hair.
That explains it. For a blonde, my skin is fairly dark for someone who's blonde, and I don't have them yet.
Right, yeah. So usually, don't be surprised, don't be alarmed if you start getting grays in your 30s. It's very normal between the 30s and 40s. That's when you usually see your first grays.
And give us that beauty tip about because I cut that one off, and you said not to tweeze it, to cut it.
I read that
I get one.
Not to pluck a gray hair because it could stimulate more gray hair production. I don't know why, actually. I'm not even an expert. I just read it in one of these articles when I was doing some research on gray hair. Another trick that they said was if you have like gray roots starting, let's say you're in between coloring, or you can always touch it up. They have these little applicators that just cover the gray. If you're going to an event, it washes out within a shampoo, but
That's
you do
cool.
have touch-up stuff. You can...
it works on blonde hair. If you're blonde, if you dye your hair
they
blonde.
have it for blondes. They have it for everything. And they also have... you can also do highlights to camouflage gray hair so it doesn't show as much, or you obviously can color your hair. But color, gray, as you get grayer, it's harder to take on color, so you're going to have to use stronger color products. So you have to expect your hair to get drier because as you age, everything gets drier. Your hair will get drier naturally.
Your eggs get drier.
Your eggs are dried out.
I'm always bitching about my eggs.
Jill has powdered eggs.
I don't even know what they are.
Her eggs are powder.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's everything gets drier. So,
I just know they're cracked.
When you're doing a hair color, you want to be careful with that because, you probably have to use something stronger on gray. So you have to make sure you're conditioning really well or taking biotin or some supplement that helps.
Yeah.
Make it stronger again.
All right. Good to know. So no plucking them maybe.
Well, perhaps not plugging them. I don't know if it's true. I just read it.
Okay. And then getting some kind of applicator. And then
if you're like, want to touch up your roots and you're going somewhere and you didn't have time to get your hair done.
Yeah.
There's little things. Yeah. Or you can embrace the gray.
Well, it doesn't look good when you just have a few strands of gray. So you got to do something if there's like just that little patch, right?
Unless you want to look like you have gray highlights. I mean, some women do that.
Yeah. I am so lackluster with my hair.
Well, you don't have that gray problem. You're so lucky. I started graying in my 30s.
I will have it. I mean, I can't get away from it.
My good thing is that my hair is so light that it just blends in with my hair. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I can tell.
When I'm stretching you and I stare at your roots.
Yeah. You have to stare real close.
Yeah, I stare really close. I can see the little white. But no, I have clients that are good 10 years younger than me, and they have a lot more gray than I do because they're, like you said, very fair. I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
But gray doesn't just happen on your head, baby.
I think I might have some gray I have very few eyebrows, but
it can also happen downstairs. So
yes.
Sometimes you don't have gray on your head, but you might get a gray hair.
Is it inappropriate to shave all of your bush?
No.
If you're over 40?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Because I'm at a gym a lot.
Well, I was just going to say.
I'm naked in front of women all the time. And I wonder if they're looking, because I just shave it all off because I can't be bothered with
it's actually
design.
It's more hygienic when you're working out like you do because you're sweating all the time.
Well, I just can't be bothered with the whole manicuring.
No.
It's painful. It takes
do you
too much
actually
time.
Shave it or do you wax it?
Well, now I just shave it. I used to wax it, but that's when I was single.
But doesn't it get really bristly if you shave it?
No, it's not that bad.
It's not nice to have a bristle pad down there.
I know. We'll ask Jim.
What if he lasered it all off?
Jim manscapes.
Does he?
So I'm not any worse than him.
Most guys do. Ben does too, a little bit.
Yeah, and Jim does a lot. He, shaves it all off.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I landscaped, manscaped, female scaped there since I was in college because, I just didn't like hair.
Yeah. No, me either. But we used to do the whole like manicuring. We'd get like a design.
Oh yeah, right. You could do your logo there.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
FTF.
It's too much
Or
hair.
Joe Brown Fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah. So So I just shave. Too much information, ladies?
No, but I think everybody I know does. I mean, they either shave or they trim it down really short.
But the bikini wax thing was major money here for a long time, but I just couldn't deal with like that pain anymore.
Well, it was on
what?
trend. It was on trend again. It came back up to being more natural, that women were letting their armpit hair grow again. They weren't trimming down there. Yeah. There were some artists and some actresses that were like doing that and, being very,
Well, artists, okay.
Yeah. It was a huge trend that started again. I can't remember who did it, but I know some singers did it and some actresses were doing it, and they weren't shy to show their, armpit hair.
Oh, okay.
And to add to the beauty, some dye it, colors, like blue armpit hair, or, to give it a little bit more of a,
How
it's
about,
an artistic.
How about Oscar the Grouch Green?
Yeah. Whatever turns you on. But like I said, to each his own. It's it's that whole
Is it dye or is it mold?
It's that whole hippie revival thing, and again, it's going back to being more natural. These millennials and all that, that they don't want to, they don't want to be us. They're totally against everything we stand for in a way. We grew up in a, powerful, money-chasing environment where you had to have lots of stuff and, everything had to be perfect. And, we were little Barbie dolls or whatever.
Okay, I didn't have that experience, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying, in that world, being in the business world, when I graduated, it was a very every woman had to be like a man and wanted to get a man's job.
Yes, that
and,
for sure, yeah.
We wanted the big houses and the fancy stuff. And, it was all materialistic. It was a very materialistic society. And I'm not saying we're not today.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a greener movement today.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
All right, so let's see if for anyone who's watching this or listening, we would love to get your comments in underneath the video. So gray or not gray, how do you deal with your gray?
And do you love your gray, or should we just embrace it?
Do you shave everything, or do you dye your armpit hair?
Dyeing your armpit. You could even do like motifs there.
Yeah,
would be
braids.
interesting.
Braids.
Right.
You're the Vikings.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah. How about some extensions?
Yeah, the Viking. I like the Viking braids. And then we would love, I would love your feedback on, dealing with relationships, like how to not be too pushy when when you're.
How to not be a nag, because women are naturally born nags, even though we don't think we are. We are.
Yeah. And I'm just one of those strong people. So like if I could get great advice, I would love it.
It's not your fault you're a woman. You're born with a maternal instinct, and that maternal instinct is to mother.
That's true. That's true. And I'm just, I just have that Queen's thing.
And then you have that Queen's thing, that pit bull thing.
Yeah.
So.
It's just how I talk.
I know.
So,
not easy.
But it's good when you're, because I'm also an instructor and a trainer, and it's good to be forceful and not be like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should do a plank for 10 more seconds. Or,
well, you can't be complacent, so you have to be the leader.
Yeah.
In that, it's like in everything else, you have to be a leader. So you get home and it's hard not to be. And my husband often says that. He says, I can run a company and I get home and I'm the garbage man. You have to put different hats on for different situations.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I have to be more of like a female.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of masculine energy, I always have.
You do. Yeah.
So I guess that's how I wound up in fitness, because, it's like a high testosterone kind of thing that I do.
Well, Jill, you'd make a really good man.
And it's funny because when my mom was pregnant with me, my bedroom was blue. The doctor said, "Oh, you're having a boy."
Well, that's it. That's what happened. It was already brainwashed into you when you were a fetus, when you were just in the...
Yeah, I think I probably just had some extra testosterone, because the doctor literally told my mom that I was going to be a boy. So then they were like scrambling to try to add green and yellow to the room, because I had like this, everything was blue.
Oh my God.
When I was a baby. Yeah, kind of funny. So anyway, I guess that's how I wound up in fitness. But it's good, when you're a trainer or an instructor or a coach, it's good to be able to, be, what's the word I'm looking for? Direct.
Well, I think also you care. It's
Yeah.
part of what you do. And sometimes your caring comes off as being a little bit more aggressive. But
Yeah.
the bottom line is you really care and you want to make a change.
And it's funny because I don't do that with my clients. I just do that with.
Yeah.
I just do that in my home life.
Right.
I guess it's because maybe with my clients I want to be a little more forceful, but you can't. You know,
Right.
you have to be.
Well, your clients are looking at you for direction. So that's what they're there for.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. But I'm definitely a lot more delicate because I want them to really feel relaxed and not
enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Whereas at home, I guess I just lose patience, so I'm a little more to the point. I guess
Right.
that's the problem.
Right.
Okay, so we brought that back full circle to
Full
me.
circle.
So next week's Bitch Fest will be about you.
Oh, no. I hope I can find something to bitch about.
Oh yeah, try really hard.
Because I never do.
Exactly. There's nothing you're bitching about.
I don't complain about a thing.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Thanks for joining us
All
on
right.
Fine
Thank
Tuned
you.
Females.
Fine-tuned females.